Peace. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, BET. Thank you, Nate Parker, Harry, and Debbie Allen for participating in that. Before we get into it, I just want to say, I brought my parents out tonight. I just want to thank them for being here, for teaching me to focus on comprehension over career, that they make sure I learn what the schools were afraid to teach us, and also to thank my amazing wife for changing my life. Now, this award, this is not for me. This is for the real organizers all over the country, the activists, the civil rights attorneys, the struggling parents, the families, the teachers, the students that are realizing that a system built to divide and impoverish and destroy us cannot stand if we do. All right? It's kind of basic mathematics. The more we learn about who we are and how we got here, the more we will mobilize. Now, this is also in particular for the black women, in particular, who have spent their lifetimes dedicated to nurturing everyone before themselves. We can and will do better for you. Now, what we've been doing is looking at the data, and we know that police somehow manage to de-escalate, disarm, and not kill white people every day. So what's going to happen is we are going to have equal rights and justice in our own country, or we will restructure their function and ours. Now, I got more, y'all. Yesterday would have been young Tamir Rice's 14th birthday. So I don't want to hear any more about how far we've come when paid public servants can pull a drive-by on a 12-year-old playing alone in a park in broad daylight, killing him on television, and then going home to make a sandwich. Tell Rakia Boyd how it's so much better to live in 2012 than it is to live in 1612 or 1712. Tell that to Eric Garner. Tell that to Sandra Bland. Tell that to Dorian Hunt. Now, the thing is, though, all of us in here getting money, that alone isn't going to stop this. All right? Now, dedicating our lives to getting money just to give it right back for someone's brand on our body, when we spent centuries praying with brands on our bodies, and now we pray to get paid for brands on our bodies. There has been no war that we have not fought and died on the front lines of. There has been no job we haven't done. There's no tax they haven't levied against us, and we've paid all of them. But freedom is somehow always conditional here. You're free, they keep telling us. But she would have been alive if she hadn't acted so free. Now, freedom is always coming in the hereafter. But you know what, though? The hereafter is a hustle. We want it now. And let's get a couple things straight. Just a little side note. The burden of the brutalized is not to comfort the bystander. That's not our job, all right? Stop with all that. If you have a critique for the resistance, for our resistance, then you better have an established record of critique of our oppression. If you have no interest in equal rights for black people, then do not make suggestions to those who do. Sit down. We've been floating this country on credit for centuries, yo. And we're done watching and waiting while this invention called whiteness uses and abuses us, burying black people out of sight and out of mind while extracting our culture, our dollars, our entertainment like oil, black gold, ghettoizing and demeaning our creations, then stealing them, gentrifying our genius, and then trying us on like costumes before discarding our bodies like rinds of strange fruit. The thing is that just because we're magic doesn't mean we're not real. Thank you.
Just because we're magic doesn't mean we're not real. Man, what? What? That was Jesse Williams on the BET Awards. And this is Real Life, Real Faith with Cheryl, Lacey, Donovan. I have Danica Carruthers with me on today. Our other counterparts will be back with us in some of the future episodes. But man, he did that.
He sure did.
He did. The whole thing about, making this money so we can just give it all right back, and that means we're not putting anything into our communities, not creating businesses, and we get on our high horse and well, they come in here, they get businesses, yeah, but if I come and ask you to sow into something that I'm trying to do or invest in Real Life, Real Faith and be a sponsor, you go running the other way. So they do what they need to do. They work collectively and collaboratively, and we make jokes about it a lot of times. Oh, they can get 15 people in the car and they got everybody and their mama working. Well, yeah, duh. Yeah. That's how you build and create community, right? And then you don't have to be beholden to anybody because you've created your own. Yeah. And the branding on the backs, when we had brands on our backs, and oh my God, I love Jesse Williams right now. I don't know about anybody else, but I love him right now.
I loved him before because that's a good looking brother.
Well, yeah.
Now it goes way beyond outward appearance for me. That thing was so powerful on so many different levels. But I see the people clapping. And as I'm watching that, I'm like, yeah, y'all clapping.
So now what you gonna do?
It's like little hype now. But what are you really internalizing these words that he's speaking? Yeah. But you know what it boils down to? What he said? When you don't know who you are, you give the world the power to define you.
Exactly. Wow.
And this is the reason why so many of our people, because that's who he was talking to, he was at the BET Awards, cannot walk in their power. Yeah. Because they are so focused on everybody else, what everybody else doing, what everybody else should be doing, what everybody else could be doing, what this person trying to take from me, what that person trying to say about me, instead of connecting with themselves to understand who they are, whose they are, who they're in, who's in them, and what they're here to do. Yeah. And that brother was here. He is here to have given that speech.
Yes.
That was. Yes. Ooh, but there was so much to that. And see, this is the thing. You know what I commend him for? Allowing himself to be used, one, because as I watch him, I was like, this is not Jesse Williams talking. This is something that is pouring through him. But being willing to stand up there and speak truth and speak his heart. And this is the thing. We need to start speaking the truth. But what he was saying essentially goes back to a conversation we were having earlier. We were not created to be self-governed. We were not created.
You mean governed outside of ourselves?
Right. We were created to self-govern. We were not created to be governed outside of ourselves. When the Creator made man, he gave man dominion. Man, the collective, was created to dominate, not to be dominated, because we don't know who we are. We have not had the wisdom to go back to the root why we are here. We have been allowing ourselves to be controlled. It's not something that anybody did to us. It's something that we allowed. And the power in that is that if you created it, you can recreate it or you can change it. But when you have no control over it, then there's nothing that you can do. When you realize that you have control over yourself, how you live, what happens in your life, what you say, what you do, how you treat people. Then you can walk in power, and then you can walk in purpose. That brother,
he did that. And then, I agree with you. I don't know if people really got it. I mean, it waxed so eloquently that it almost sounded like a poem or something. And, sometimes we get so caught up. It reminds me of church. It really does. We get so caught up in the moment and the emotions of it. And until we miss out on the meat of the message and how to apply it. So I'm hoping that the people that were there were not so caught up in the emotion of it that they really missed some of the things he was saying. Some of you people with all your money, all you worried about is whether or not you're driving in a Bentley or you're wearing this certain brand or whatever, and you're not taking any of that and investing it back into your community. Really all you're doing most of the time is investing in yourself and not creating, because that's what we were designed to do, creating wealth and creating community and creating relationships within our community. You're not doing that. That's basically what he was saying. Exactly. Did you get that? Or were you just, his words just sounded really good, and let's clap, So my question to them would be, you were clapping about it and you were happy and standing and ovations and all of that, but what are you going to do about it now? Exactly. He's giving you the charge. He said, he told the police, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, then we're going to restructure your very, what you doing.
Restructure the system.
We're going to, so
yeah, exactly.
Now what all of you that stood, and I'm asking you, all of you that stood up and clapped, standing ovations, and, had these looks on your face like you really got what he was saying, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly. Time for action. Faith without works is dead. It's time to stop talking. It's time to act. And that's exactly what he was saying. What he's saying is, don't expect anybody else to take care of you when you ain't prepared to take care of yourself. You want welfare and the system. See, that's the problem, Cheryl.
And that's what we do.
Beholden to the system.
We're looking for everybody else to fix our issues, and we refuse to fix them ourselves. We want to sit on the sofa with a remote control and talk about what the white man did. The white man did this. White man did that. Brother came down. Have you tried to get up and start a lawn service? How about that? Exactly. That you could make money doing that. Have you thought, bless his heart, Alton Sterling was selling those CDs. He was doing something, and the owner there didn't mind it, even though, it ended up the way that it did. But can you do something other than complain about what the white man is doing to you? Because here's the thing. The system was designed for you to fail in the beginning in the first place. If a woman gets on welfare, what is the first thing you see people doing? The brother got to sneak around the corner when the people come to the house to do the checkup because they don't want the man in the house. Why? Because if I divide the two of you, then we're going to continue to do what we've been talking about. Keep control. Keep control. And I am so glad. I tried to get welfare once. I tried, Danica. And they wouldn't give it to me. I said, that's the Lord knew what he was doing. Because he did not want me to be a part of the system and be controlled by, because look, you'd be crazy. They're giving you housing. They're giving you food through food stamps. They're giving you medical care through Medicaid or whatever else. That's, for other people, that's basically a $2,500 a month living arrangement that's being given to you. So why should I get off of it? If the only thing that I have to do is not have my daddy here when y'all come to do, why would I get rid of that?
But like you said, the system was started to control.
To control.
See, because when you need me,
right,
for your substance,
right,
I can get you to do
when
anything.
You ought to be knowing that he's the one that's your source. I'm just saying.
But what Jesse Williams said is he went back to the beginning.
Yes.
He went back to what was the root, what was the intention of this thing being set up. And like you said, it's control, but it's also manipulation. Because you saying that you're being controlled, but you manipulating the system. You thinking that you're getting away with something.
Right.
But even the scripture tells us, know the truth. Know the truth. Not the truth.
Make you free.
Not the truth, because the truth is out there. But you got to know the truth, because until you know something, it cannot benefit you. If I don't know that there's help around the corner, that doesn't negate help around the corner. But I don't know it, so it cannot benefit me. And this is the thing. Our culture, our black people, and let me tell you, I have the right to talk. I don't care what y'all say, because I come from both, white and black.
There you go.
Like Jesse.
Like Jesse.
All right. But our culture, because I grew up in the black culture, is not about helping one another. It's not about helping ourselves. We are looking not for a hand up, always looking for a hand out. So when you don't go learn how to fish so that you can feed yourself constantly, and you looking for somebody else to bring you the fish, you're putting the power in their hands for you to eat. There's something wrong with that, because God created us in their likeness and image. God spoke, and the thing was. We have the power to speak those things that be not as though they are, but we're speaking all the things that we don't want to be.
We're living in their narrative instead of changing it. Yeah. This is the narrative that they've given us. Okay, this is what you can do. This is how you can do it. These are the boundaries. And if you don't believe it, look at some of our people who we felt have arrived, and the minute they try to cross the boundary that's been set for them, what happens? They tear them down.
Exactly. Oprah Winfrey is a prime example.
They tear them down.
I remember when Oprah Winfrey started ascending, the majority of the flack that she got was from the black people. The white people were supporting her. When you looked at the pound of the audience, it there was a bunch of white people in there, and the black people will be the first one to say, well, they don't let black people in there. But were you at the door? Were you trying to get into there? And this is the thing, we make so much excuses. We blame everybody else for what we're going through, giving everybody else the power. They ain't taking the power from you.
Exactly.
You're giving the power. They're not doing anything to us. We allow it as a collective consciousness. And so we need to now come together and rewrite our own script, because we have allowed our script to be written for us. Let's take the pens back now. Let's sit down together and have a conversation with each other, and let's rewrite our own script.
And stop being so divided. Stop being so divided. I mean, it's just, and the thing is, it's not like it can't be done. We had Black Wall Street. We had places like Rosewood. It can be done, but again, it's going to take some work. We're going to have to do something. We're going to have to do more than just sit around, you know, and be idle. Idle mind is the devil's workshop, you know. So then what does the devil do? He makes us think that the only way we can get something done is if we go and steal it from somebody that had to work hard to get it in the first place. No, that's not the answer. There are things that you can do. You were designed to do something. Find out what that is and do it.
And be consistent.
And
stop looking for the easy way out.
Stop looking for the easy
Stop looking for the easy way out. Anything worth having is worth working for. Stop looking for someone to give you something. And Cheryl,
because they're not going to.
They can talk bad with me all they want. That is the problem in our culture. You always looking for someone. Look at the churches. They want people to come in and use their talent and don't pay them. They want everything to be free. They want you to go in your bag and take out all your money or all your wallet, take out all your money for tithes and offering and church building and missions and the fish fry and the gift giving. But when you don't have any money, you can't go to the church and say, can y'all please give me some money to pay my bill or pay my light bill for me? My lights are about to be off. I'm about to be thrown out of my place. It's a problem. We need to change the narrative, but before you can change the narrative, you first need to take responsibility for your part in what's going on. And we need to take responsibility collectively.
It's systemic. It really is. It's systemic. You know, and you know, this narrative wears on me so much because it's at the end of the day. Again, it's about what you allow and what choices you made. Oh, well, you know, they flooded our neighborhoods with the drugs and they brought in all of that. Well, you know what? That may be. Okay, I'll give you that.
Right.
But who made you take them?
Exactly.
Who made you say you?
You know, that just freaks me out. I mean, I can't. I'm sorry, but I cannot empathize with the drug thing. I can't. I never did it. I was surrounded by it. Okay. I grew up in Holmes Rock, Grand Bahama, which was the drug place. I was surrounded by it. I made a choice when I sat down and saw you acting crazy and you acting crazy and you thieving from your mama and you breaking into people's place, that this is not something that I'm going to be a part of. You always have control over what you do. It is not about anybody else. So if I bring poison and tell you to drink it, you're going to drink it. If I go jump off the ledge.
Maybe if you were Jim Jones or something, I don't know. I'm sorry, that was
but that's the thing. You know, you are responsible
choice.
For your own actions. Nobody else is responsible for that, and that is the problem. We don't want to take responsibility. We want to blame everything and everybody: the dog, the rat, the cat, the monkey.
Yeah, and then you know, same thing with the ones that sell the drugs. Well, I was just trying to make a living for my family, bruh. You couldn't have thought of nothing else but to sell drugs. You couldn't, like I said, you couldn't buy a lawnmower and go cut some yards. You couldn't, you know. Surely it was something else that you could. If you were that enterprising, especially the ones that were the kingpins, I'm just saying, if you were that enterprising, that lets me know that you have business acumen. You know how to handle business. You know, you got some business acumen. Business acumen. So why could you not have taken that business acumen? And obviously it didn't necessarily mean that you had to go to college to do it because you did a good job. That's how you got to be a kingpin. And maybe if you had to utilize it to do something else, you wouldn't have a bullet on your back because somebody else wants to take over your enterprise, right? You could have taken that same knowledge and applied it somewhere else. And still, yeah, it might have taken some work. Yeah, it may have taken a little more time. But at the end of the day, the outcome could have been so much greater, and you could have been benefiting your community in the process. Because guess what? Same way you hired Bobo and Pookie and them to go hang out on the corner, you could have hired Bobo and Pookie and them to run the store, or to run the whatever it is that you do, to mow the lawns. Maybe you wouldn't have had to mow the yard. You could have got Bobo and Pookie and them. You just run it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. It just to me,
Bobo
it just seems Bobo and Pookie. Y'all know y'all got some Bobos and Pookies in y'all family, and some babies, all of them. Shout out to all of them.
No, but
I mean,
you're
I'm just
right.
saying.
You make the lower choice.
Right.
Instead of the higher choice.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you make the choice. And like you said, let me tell you something. I was telling a group of women who I coached the other day, I said, I expect everybody to love me. Whether they do or not is not my business.
Exactly.
I expect them to love me. You know why? Because I'm lovable. I give love. I do right by people. I have the highest integrity and honesty. I'm always looking out for other people. So why am I going to expect somebody to not like me?
Right.
But see, you got to keep looking over your shoulder, expecting someone to kill you when you know you killing people. Because that's what you're doing when you're selling these drugs.
Mm-hmm.
People die from drug overdoses every day. You're killing people, so now you can't sleep at night. You got to keep something close to you to kill somebody if they come to try to kill you. Because you're expecting the thing that you're putting out into the world. You know, but again, it's being responsible.
So the principle of sowing and reaping.
What you sow, you
Sowing
shall
and reaping.
reap.
What you
Yeah.
sow, you're
Yeah.
gonna reap it.
Yeah. No, but you know, I'm so happy for real life, real faith. I really am, because this conversation needs to happen. People need to start speaking the truth. And you know, it's real. It's life. Real faith. Like we ain't talking about no hunky
They
dory
perpetrate.
nursery rhyme
Yeah.
story. You know,
Yeah.
this is real stuff, and we need to start really having real conversations, because that's the only way we're gonna get real resolutions to the issues that we're facing.
It all begins with the dialogue, and then once you have that dialogue, you need to strategically plan, you know, to make some things happen.
Yeah.
You know, we may have a couple of banks, but I don't know about a whole bunch of banks that we own, right?
Yeah.
And the couple that we own, I don't know how viable they are right now, but you know, how can everybody else from everywhere else come into? Here's a perfect example. For the life of me, I do not understand how we go into a store and purchase somebody else's hair, and we don't own Nairn, and yes, I said it on national TV, Nairn Weave Company. We don't own not A1. How does that happen?
Because we don't want to do the work. And it goes back
Foolishness.
to, you know, it probably does go back to the mentality of slavery. And that's the problem. I'm sorry, but the mentality of slavery is still very real. That's why
we're still in
that's why
bondage in our
slavery
heads.
is still real.
And that's why we still run around with the thing talking about the white man did.
Yeah.
You're still in bondage, boo. White man ain't doing nothing to you right now. You need to get up off your behind and your anky danky or whatever you want to call it, and get out there and do something and make a difference. You'll pool your money and give your money to everybody else. But then when it comes time for us to collectively come together and have some collective economics going on, you run the other way. And I get it, because we still, even in that area, we have some poverty mentality and some bondage, because sometimes when we do try to pool together, the individuals are pooling with, because of their bondage thinking, want to take it all and run with it because they ain't never had nothing. But we have to go ahead and put it all out there on the table and do what we have to do so that we can get past this. There has to be a way to get past
Well,
this.
you're saying that you want freedom, but
Freedom ain't free.
But you don't want freedom.
Freedom ain't free. Even
You don't want freedom.
when they say salvation is free, the devil is a lie. Somebody died for you to be saved. Jesus did.
Yeah.
So it ain't free. You're going to have to make some sacrifices. The difference between a moment and a movement is that somebody has to make a sacrifice in order for it to be a movement. Otherwise, and that's what we've been having a lot of lately, a bunch of moments.
Yes.
Like you said,
That's
we
it.
get all excited in the moment
Get
of this
upset in the
happening,
moment.
and then all of a sudden it just kind of fills us
does.
out.
Yeah.
Right?
It
But
does.
the difference is that, and Jesse Williams made a sacrifice, because the first thing that they did, they sent petitions to try to get him off of Grey's Anatomy because he spoke his truth. Last time I checked, this is a free country. You're supposed to be able to say what you want to say. How come you want to take my livelihood? How come you want to take my job because I spoke my truth? No, don't worry like
But
that.
see this, but that's a very good point, because the Fifth Amendment applies to everybody.
Everybody.
But
That's on the check.
cultures make a decision. This don't apply to us. This apply to them. And if we say something, then we're going to be ostracized or we're going to be held from a job. I mean, say it anyway.
Say it anyway.
You think that young man didn't think that there was going to be a backlash for this? You think Martin Luther King didn't think there was going to be a backlash? You think Martin Luther King every day didn't feel like he was going to be killed? Yeah. Did it stop him?
Nope.
He still did
and
what he did.
And that's why it created a movement. Exactly. Because somebody made the sacrifice.
To stand for something.
The movement. That's the difference between a moment and a movement.
Yes.
And I really believe that Jesse Williams, with his speech, was trying to give us a call to action. He was giving us a charge to make this a movement. Who is willing to move this thing forward so that we can get past whatever the blockades are that we're dealing with right now and really create the kind of community that we're capable of creating. We come from kings and queens. Yeah. And like I said earlier, we had Black Wall Street, we had Rosewood, we had places like that where our community was for us, by us, governed by us, and we rolled with that and we did what we needed to do. And I'm like you, I'm gonna step up outside the box, because when I say this, people are not gonna necessarily like it. I believe in my heart of hearts that one of the worst things we did was to want integration. I really do. I believe that. Because, unfortunately, when we integrated, we went after all of the foolish things of the culture. You know, we didn't go in and try to learn and understand, well, how are they making this happen? How are they creating? All we wanted was the material stuff that they had. That's the kind of equality that we were trying to get, and that was the wrong thing. That was the wrong thing. And I really believe that because of the integration, that it took us off course as we maneuvered through that path. It sounded good at the time, but everything that looks good to you is not necessarily good for you.
Right.
Because they never really, I don't think it was ever really intended that we truly become integrated. We're going to dangle a little carrot in front of you and be like, oh, yay, now we can have the same pay as everybody. Oh, yay, now we can actually live in it. Okay, that's fine and dandy, but what about creating some of your own? Because initially that's what we were doing, and we were good at it, and we did good within it, with our own, creating our own systems, like you said, of self-governance, and moving forward with it.
But it goes back to motivation and intention. So for some reason, from the beginning, when we started talking about this, I'm thinking about Straight Outta Compton. Mm-hmm. And that movie, and Eazy-E. Yeah. Right? So they had their thing going. It was good. But here comes the carrot, and then the sellout. Mm-hmm. And we have to take responsibility for selling out. Mm-hmm. We have to take responsibility for what our intention is when we go into stuff. Because you want the easy way out, or you want the money, or you want to be set apart, or you want control, or you want status. Because how did that guy come in to Eazy-E? Man, you this group. This group is you. This ain't them. How did the fall of Satan happen? Because he wanted to take control. What did he go to even say? God just don't want you to know. But when you know who you are, when you know what you bring to the table, you can't be manipulated that way. And our people need to start discovering who they are. Who is in you and who are you in? God is not outside of us. Jesus said the kingdom of God is within. Yeshua, came to point us to the kingdom of God, which is within, not without. And unless you become as a little child, people don't think about that. You cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven. We need to start going back to truth, because only when we know the truth will we be set free. We'll continue to walk in bondage. Here. Here. Be not conformed to this world. Be transformed by this. But you got to allow this to lead this. Because the first thing that is created in the human body is not the brain. It's the heart. The heart is the first organ. And everything else forms around that. And it's time to start getting back to the heart. Now, because that's where God is.
Listen, we always keep it real here in Real Life, Real Faith. We'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so I think one of the things also that Jesse may have been alluding to is sort of this economic structure that we're in, and our being able to have an economic base. I think we spend like $1 trillion in the economy that we put, which, like I said, most of it probably going to weave. I'm just saying, but anyway. Yeah, $1 trillion. But here's the thing. Here's what's interesting, and I said that to be funny, but look at the things we're spending it on. You know, we're not investing in creating something that's going to continue to build our wealth. We, like he said, we're getting the money just to turn it right back in, spend it right back out. And that's really what we're doing. And we're spending it on, you know, I might live in the projects, but I got a big old Cadillac sitting in my driveway. You know, I might have, you know, I'm not going to take it and invest into a home that can help to create some generational wealth and whatever. So
it goes back. This is the question that I like to ask people. Why are you doing what you're doing? It's important for you to know the why. So you said just now, and it was funny, about spending it on weed. Well, why do so many people want to smoke weed?
Oh, I said weave, like weed. Hair. Okay. But yeah, that too.
But weed too. You know, I don't have any experience with it, so I really can't speak to how it makes you feel. Ironically, I learned from my children, two of them. But I asked them questions because I don't know firsthand. But weed is generally associated with people who do nothing, right? So like you smoking weed. Now artists will say it helps your creativity. I don't know. My son explained to me that it makes you euphoric and it gives you motivation. I said, that don't make no sense to me. Because usually when you're euphoric, you don't want to do nothing, right? Like you're euphoric is like, just let's lay down and do nothing. And then the weave, like you said, again, it's altering your appearance. Why are you doing that? Why do you need to alter your appearance? And what's so funny about the weave factor is when Chris Rock did his movie Good Hair, and you know he was going in and asking the Asian store owner if they have any natural hair. He said, no, nobody wants to spend money on that. But now when you go into, because black people now have embraced their natural hair. So you look at the power that we have. And he talked about it. You what did he say? You raping us or stealing our oil or something like that. He said in his speech, you know, where you want to take our, you know, vernacular. You want to take our looks, just why you spend all that time in the sun and in tanning rooms. You want to take our creativity. The lips, you want to write songs. You know, you want to play your music to sound like our music and all of that. But look at this. But you can't stand it, so you say. So the weave. Right, natural hair. That wasn't a thing. Now it's there. What's that lady's name who they had on display even after she died, and she had the big booty, right? So the big booty was laughable. Now people are doing stuff with their booty. The big lips was an issue. Now you have Kylie Jenner, who. You know, is famous now for her lip. No, but she's famous now for her lip kit. But one of the things that she did is she started thickening her lips just based on her makeup, right? So people are now intrigued with that. But why don't we see that and use that? When you don't know who you are, you give other people the power to define you. But people usually try to tear you down when they want what you have. But we haven't tapped into the value of what we have. And then I ask people to really ponder the question, why is the black race so attacked? Now, I have heard it said that the black people are the original people, that even white people have come from black, right? Well, I don't know. That's what it said, and if God, all things are possible, I guess that is possible. But we have to go back to the root now. Why is there so much discrimination? Why are all these murderings going on? Why do other races feel a need to control the black race? Why do we allow ourselves to be controlled? Why are we so concerned about what other people are doing to us or trying to take from us? The Jews have their coming out, like when they're young men turn a certain age. The Hispanic community, they do their quinceañeras. Yes. What do we do in our culture when our young men or young women are coming of age? If you get with the right group of people, you have a rites of passage. They used to do that, but we don't do it as often as they used to anyway. So we're not telling our children who they are. So we're giving other people the power, because when you don't know who you are, you give outside of yourself the power to define you. And I think, you know, you talked earlier about the integration. and where it was an issue. And I didn't say anything really because I was processing it. Mm-hmm. But when you think about the Jewish community, they teach their own. They come together and they do their thing. The Asian community
teach their own.
They teach their own. They come together. So it's important for you to teach your own so that when they go out there, they know who they are. So the Bible says, train up a child in the way in which he should go, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe that's one of the solutions. Coming together as a community, a lot of people will say, they have the African American. I don't really align with that, only because I'm not from America. I'm from the Bahamas, so I align more with black, right? But the black, I gotta say black, I can't say African, but the black people now need to come together and decide, who are we? Because from slavery days, we are told who we're not. And being made to conform. So we really don't have a foundation of understanding who we are. And maybe that's not be concerned with what other people are doing, but being concerned with building up your culture, building up your people. And I think that would be a good place for us to start.
And we have such a huge diaspora to pull from. Even prior to the slave trade, you have all of these different, which was one of the issues even coming over here. One of the reasons why they couldn't necessarily revolt, because they had so many different dialects and so many different languages, and they were from so many different tribes, and all of that, particularly for those of us that are here in America, sort of goes into the pot of who we are. And we really need all of that. Yeah. To let our children know, and to even let ourselves know how rich our background is. Yeah. I mean, our ancestors come from some of the richest lands ever.
Yeah, that's true.
In natural resources, and and the influx of people that were not from there. That's what it was all about. Was getting in and taking over those resources away from us, and we allowed it.
We did. But you'll have Americans, they say African American, but when people say, well, you're from Africa, the first thing it says, no, I'm not from Africa, I'm from America, right? So even in that, there's a division. Like, you don't know who you are. You're saying you're African American, but you don't align with being African, and it's like, I'm American. It's so much confusion.
And it's so, there are people whose ancestry is in the Bahamas or in Haiti or any number of places. Caribbean. And I think Caribbean, and I think we need to embrace all of that, because we really don't know, but learn a little bit about it all. Yeah. So that we can incorporate that, because all of it is very rich. Wherever it's from, all of it is very, it's important in our becoming and knowing that regardless of whether it was Nigeria or Kenya or Haiti or Bahamas or wherever, there is something to be taken from all of that. Yeah. And it's not all bad.
But I go back to the conforming. So you look at the Jews, and even though they're in America, they're still very much within their culture.
Because it wasn't taken from them, though.
Right. The Muslims, they're here, but they're still in their culture. Ramadan, we just came out of Ramadan. You have Muslims all over the United States. I have clients who are Muslims, are honoring the Ramadan. What do we honor?
But that's one of the reasons why those things were some of the first things they took away from us. I go back, they just recently redid Roots again. And what was the first thing they did? They made him say, your name is not Kuta Kinte, your name is Toby. So we're going to take that. If we hear you speaking your language, you're going to be beat. We're going to take that. We're going to take the culture from you so that you can't no longer have an understanding of who you really are. That was by design. Now, that does not mean, however, that we should continue allowing it. Right. Yes, it was done. We got that. We see it. We put it on the table. Yeah. Yes. But now you have the ability to change that. Right. Change the narrative. Yeah. You have the opportunity. I mean, even so much so where now you can go and do a DNA swab and find out exactly where you came from. It's so funny. I forget, I think the man's name is Gates. He does a PBS special on genealogy or whatever, stuff like that. And you know how you always hear black people say, oh, I got some Indian blood in me. He said, well, most of the people that he tests, 9 times out of 10, they have no Indian blood at all. But we have the ability now. If you just really want to know who you are, where you came from, and really want to dig deep, you can do that now.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I had a thought just now. It just escaped me. Come back, son, come back. But you said it was taken away. But again, we allowed it. You know, because you had a choice. Either give it up or be killed. You could be killed, yeah. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So we made a choice not to stand for it, right? But like you said, if it's important, if foundation and if root is important, we might need to go back to the root, but we try to escape the thing, you know, to conform.
Because it's easier.
Well,
it's easier.
That's what we say.
That's what we believe. We believe that it's easier, and really and truly,
that's a mindset.
In the grand scheme of things, it's not. Yeah. But in our limited thinking as we are right now, it seems to be easier. Yeah, it's easier. It's just easier if I conform. Just whatever.
Just sitting at the feet. You know, we just even in our culture, there's no respect for the elder wisdom anymore like there used to be. You know, we respected our elders. We respected the wisdom of the elders. When you're 20-something, you know nothing.
Absolutely not.
You know, wisdom comes with time and with experience. And, you know, the scripture tells you that. The older women are to train the younger women. The older men are to guide the younger men. And I think it's a coming together now of the elder and the youth, you know, and just really having these conversations, because these children are very wise, and I firmly believe that as our ancestors will come back in through these young people, and so we need to really pay attention to what the young people are talking about now, but in an effort to guide them, you know, not to control them or tell them what they should and shouldn't be doing, but to guide them into how to make good decisions. Because if you don't teach me how to make a good decision, how do you expect me to know how to do it?
You need to make some good decisions first before me. How about that? And I think that's part of it as well. You know, it's one thing to say something, it's totally different to do it. And I think that's some of the disconnect as well. You know, I want to teach you how to make good decisions, but I'm bringing Bubba and JoJo and Harry and all of those people into the house over you. All these people is your uncle, and I'm not married to none of them. You may have said you want me to make good decisions, but I'm looking and emulating what you're doing, and you ain't making none.
Well, you want me to do what you say, but I'm doing what you do. You want me to do what you say, but I am doing what you do. And then you're blaming me for the decisions that I make. All I'm doing is following the example that you're giving me. You know, but again, it goes back to taking responsibility.
For being a part in it.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
The conversation continues.
Listen, I tell you what, I don't know. I'm hoping that Jesse Williams. I don't know.
Girl, they better don't take him off of Grey's Anatomy, because they already took McDreamy off of Grey's Anatomy, caused me to have to do a little adjustment. Right. They need to leave Jesse.
Well, you know, they had a petition. They were trying, but it hasn't so far gone.
So who was setting out the petition? Who was behind the petition?
I don't know if I saw exactly where it came from. Obviously, it was probably some disgruntled white people in there somewhere. But I'm not sure where it came from. Shonda Rhimes responded to it and basically said, not happening, you know, whatever. You know, freedom of speech. That's what I said.
Shonda.
She's a beast. I love Shonda Rhimes.
Stop the line.
But you know, what I would really hope at some point, and I don't know if this is even on his radar at the moment, I would love to see him as a senator. Oh my God. Or as a something. I would, you know, that. Yeah. And to be able to sit in that chamber while he was speaking to everybody else. Yeah.
That speech was very wise, and what I respect is that he comes from both worlds.
Exactly.
You know, and me, I feel like I can speak to it as well, because I come from both worlds. So I feel like I can speak to the black culture. I feel like I can speak to the white culture, and this is what we really need to do, because these are the two cultures that have the biggest issue right now. It's just really coming together and bringing it together and having a conversation and respecting too where you are. I don't have to agree with you, but I have to respect that this is your path.
Right.
I mightn't take your words and use them for mine, but I have to respect that they are your words. Yeah. And he was actually, I don't know what the white people are upset for, because he was talking to his people. BET, Black Entertainment. That was a black thing. And his message really was for the black people. But what I loved is he introduced his parents. his white mother. I got to me a white mama too. And his black daddy.
You know, and I wondered about that because obviously all eyes was on her at some point, especially when he mentioned about this is for all the black mothers who have, you know, and I'm sure everybody's ears perked up.
He said the black women.
Eyes, black, right. Yeah. And, you know, I'm like, okay, wow.
But I got what he was saying because I actually was watching a movie last night. Fast and Furious 7. Fast and Furious number 7. And so they have all these women in bikinis, all the booty hanging out, on the poles.
You on the booty today.
But the thing is, you know what I said to my husband? I said, why don't have some dudes up there with no clothes on and on a pole and putting the camera up in there behind? But black women allow it. It's like you don't want to be used as a token. You don't want to be demeaned. But this is what you're doing. And so the young girls are seeing it and think you glamorize it. And then I heard this song the other day, Chris Brown and was it 50 Cent? I think it was 50 Cent. They was talking about bees and hoes. Let me tell you something. That thing was on the TV. That was disturbing me so much, but I was washing dishes. And so I couldn't at the moment go and turn it, right? But it was disturbing me so much. And I told my husband when he came out, I said, please turn that off. I said, that is just upsetting my spirit. But you know what was so funny? Even when he turned it off, I kept hearing the song playing in my head. The words kept playing in my head. The thing that disturbed me. And this is how powerful music is.
Yes.
This is how powerful words are. Because we hear the words going over and over and over again. Faith comes by hearing. Fear comes by hearing. Hatred comes by hearing. Everything comes by hearing. So we really have to guard our ears. But we have to take responsibility for what we're allowing in. We have to take responsibility for what we're doing. And women are allowing themselves to be demeaned. Women are allowing themselves to be used as token. Why the hell should I be showing my body for the man to get the entertainment? But what am I saying about myself when I allow that to happen? Because I know what it's doing. I know why they want it done. But as a woman, I still continue to participate in that. And then I won't get mad when they call me a bee and a hoe on the side of the street.
And you know, it's such a thin line because then you'll have those that come and say, well, but I'm proud of how I look. I'm proud of my body. Okay, but does everybody have to see it? I get that. That's wonderful that you're proud of your body. I like that. But does everybody have to see it? I mean,
but that's not even the thing. I go back to intention.
And what is your intention?
And
why
what is their intention?
Why did you do it?
Right. What is their intention for putting you there? So would they give you $10,000? So that's all you worth? And so then that's how they treat you, right?
I'm leaving it there. I'm leaving that right there.
But something has to be done.
Something has to be done. Something has to be done. This is Real Life, Real Faith with Cheryl, Lacey, Donovan. Let me remind you that on November the 5th, 2016, here in Houston, Texas, we're going to have the Real Life, Real Faith Changing the Narrative Awards at the Sterling Banquet Hall on, I believe it's Hammerly Road here in Houston. But go to our website. You can find all the information about that. Because that's really what we're about in Real Life, Real Faith. We want to change the narrative. We want you to think. We want you to do something different with your lives. So join us for that. And hit us up on Facebook, Real Life, Real Faith with Cheryl, Lacey, Donovan. On Twitter, it's Real Faith Mag, as in magazine. On Instagram, Real Life, Real Faith. And always, you feel free to visit our website, www.realliferealfaithmedia.com. And as always, we want to remind you that God can do exceedingly and abundantly more than you could ever ask or think, according to the power that worketh in you. Be blessed.